Welcome to our podcast, Real Talk. We're your hosts, Mary Contrarian Starfish. On this podcast, we will explore stories about conspiracies, misinformation, lies and deceit in politics, and how it ruins people's lives. Please subscribe and listen to wherever you get your podcasts, and we look forward to having you with us.
Okay, here we are. Mary Contrary.
Starfish. Well, happy Valentine's Day.
Ooh, happy Valentine's Day.
It's the love day.
It's the V day. The day of getting the V.
Oh, I know. And we have a great V story for everybody.
Ooh.
Especially after the stripper story. So.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like the season of love month, so we're going strong with that this month here.
Yes, things to be aware of. Things to be aware of, men and women.
Yeah, this one's kind of important. This one I actually do feel bad for the victim. I mean, I do in most of our episodes, but this one, too, is pretty crappy. So, It's the story of a military dating scam.
Ooh.
So, this is the story of 3 men who were sentenced for stealing $750,000 from a Kentucky woman in a military dating scam. Yes.
Wow. That is so much money for one person. Holy cow.
Oh, I know. It's actually really sad. It's out of Nicholasville, Kentucky.
Okay.
I don't know anything about Kentucky, so...
South of Indiana.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So anyway, the men in this were using fraud, of course, and deceit. So Thomas D. Inkoom, it's spelled Inkoom, of Newark.
Oh, okay.
And Kahad A. Wuupini of Auburn. I think that's Auburn, Texas.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. And then Baaki, Abdul, Majeed of Tacoma. So Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are like kind of all over the country, like one fraudster per section of the country, maybe.
Right, per time zone. One for each time zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, were they... Okay, well, I'm excited to hear the story. This is confusing. Yeah.
Right.
Were they working together?
Right, yeah.
She scammed 3 times?
Right? Yeah, so it is. It's kind of a weird one. So basically they used promises of love and romance to entice this Kentucky woman. We don't have her name, unfortunately.
Well, good for her, actually.
Right,
so she's protected. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Embarrassing.
Oh, yeah, totally. So into an online dating scheme that was here to lose over $75,000 of her money. So I have to wonder...
or $750?
$750,000.
Yeah, okay. That's crazy.
Almost $1 million. You know, kind of
it's insane.
Close to that.
Yeah.
So that's crazy too. Yeah. So I have to wonder, though, I don't have any demographics on this woman. Like, I don't know how old she was or what her mental status was. I think for this, I can only kind of assume that she might have had some issues, obviously mental issues, and it's hard to say with some of these poor people get scammed like this. But they basically persuaded her to send them money, personal and financial information, and items of value to a man she believed was an Army sergeant named James Nehmer.
So all 3 of them.
Yeah, so
pretending
all 3
to be
of them.
This one guy.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's insane, too. Like, that's so crazy to me. And honestly, I have to say, a lot of the dating sites, I feel like there's so many catfishers out there and scammers in those. They're pretty easy to catch if you know what you're looking for. I had this one time, this lady that pretended she was, like, in the military.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, I'm in Afghanistan. It's really hard to find people to date. And I'm like, uh-huh. Okay, yeah. You're in Afghanistan. Okay, right. In the military, yeah.
Right. I mean, I get it. I guess it could be lonely, but...
It's just kind of, like, highly unlikely. They'll put, like, their city close to where you live or something on their profile, and they're like, oh, well, I serve in the military, so I guess you could just lie and say wherever you live. I don't know.
Right.
So, it's just kind of crazy and weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after getting cashier's checks and personal checks and cash from the victim, the trio laundered the money from Washington State and New Jersey to Ghana, Africa. So they purchased cars, shipped them to Ghana, and then obtained cashier's checks and wired money to each other as well as other unnamed individuals in both countries, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in eastern Kentucky. According to the victim, she believed she was in a relationship with Sergeant James Nehmer and that she was sending money for an investment in gold and silver, is what they made her believe. So, of course, like, nothing like that existed, and meanwhile, the loved ones just watched her throw away good money. I'm sure that was frustrating for her family and friends that were like, hey, this is a total scam. She probably didn't want to believe that, because she's, you know, who knows, she probably was very lonely and had a hard time dating. Who knows what the story is, but... apparently nobody could awaken her to the fact that she was being scammed. So,
well, we learned from Melissa Caddick not to invest with your friends and family.
Right.
First of all. But second of all, with somebody you've never met, who's supposedly overseas or whatever, that is just terrible idea. Terrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Investigators reported that at times the checks were as big as $95,000, which I don't know. You know, like... just from, like, a banking perspective, I don't even know if I could pull that kind of cash out of the bank like that.
Right. Was she just wealthy?
Like, that's got to be really hard to do. Yeah, unless you're, like, super wealthy and you just have a ton of cash sitting there. But I don't know that a bank would just, like... would they let you have a cashier's check for $95,000? I mean, I don't know. Like,
fuck if I know. I've never seen $95,000 at one time in my life. I have no idea.
You know, the most I've ever written, like, a cashier's check was for, like, a down payment of my house, like, of $35,000 or something like that. But, like...
that's still a lot.
I've never... you know, I don't know. Like, maybe in real estate, they may not question that. I have no idea. It's a crazy high number to be taking that kind of money out of stuff. Because, like, I know, like, for a fact, like, even Western Union, I had an ex who worked for Western Union, and they had limits on how much you could wire.
Right.
Like, it's federally regulated.
Right.
Like, you can't just go wiring $200,000 or $95,000, you know, without having, like, a SAR filed against you with the government.
Huh.
So I just thought that was kind of a crazy...
they must have found the loopholes or something. You know.
Something. I mean, man, that lady really wanted to give him money. So, so yeah, these scammers, they created businesses that facilitated the receipt for the money. Like, it's crazy. They did all sorts of stuff. So then they were finally indicted in August of 2019. So a special agent in charge of FBI, Lewisfield Field Office, said of the case, the defendants in this case not only deceived a vulnerable individual, but then proceeded to engage in multiple money laundering schemes in order to conceal their original scam. So, yeah, it just kind of sounds like this is just like such a sad story for this poor lady.
This is apparently like a really common scam. I've been learning about this and reading about Reddit that, I mean, I've never heard of them be like this, where they're asking you to invest money. That is, gosh, just don't do it. Gah.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But I've heard of the sort of smaller ones where they ask you for money. First of all, if they're asking you for any kind of money, it's probably a scam. I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah. Like, one thing I have read by a lot of people in these posts is that there is no reason somebody in the military needs money from you. They are living in a base, usually, with getting tons of money, not having to use it.
Right.
They don't have to use their money. They get free food and free room and board, obviously. They can't go off base for very long. I've known a lot of people in the military. They have a lot of money. I mean, they're not wealthy, but they aren't short of cash. You know, they're not in jail. Right.
No, that's true.
So they're asking people to send them money so that they can communicate. Like, oh, I can talk to you more if you just send me some money and then we can talk, because I can't, like, literally, like, they're in jail. You know, like, I can see somebody in jail asking for money so that you can communicate, and I've done that. But in the military, I'd be like, I think you probably have more money than I do. So that should, I mean, immediately, basically, they say that is a red flag. Just do not do that. And I agree with you that, I mean, I feel like you have to be in a place in your life where you're, you know, it's one thing to, like, meet people online and date online. A lot of us have done it. But to, like, need it to be somebody that is asking you for money. As soon as they ask me for money, I'd be like, see ya. You know? Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because they ask on these boards all the time, is this a scam? If you're asking, probably yes. You know, don't do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always look for the comments, too, on stuff. Like, if I see there's, like, a fraudy-looking product or something that someone's trying to sell on social media, it's like you go to the comments and read about, does this program or this app or this product really work? And people are like, no, it's a scam. I had to call my credit card company. You can find it that way, but, like, usually if you're being asked for money, it's a scam. 100%. Like
100%.
any sort of dating site. And there's some that you pay for subscriptions. That's a little different. But the people that are messaging you, if they ever ask you for money, then it's a scam.
Or ask you to engage with any kind of money even. I mean, I don't even know why this would come up in a conversation in a new relationship. Like this other one on this board was somebody who said that the guy offered her $1 million because he got this inheritance. She said, suddenly he informed me that he got this inheritance and he'll need someone to handle it. I mean, again, they're in the military. They usually have lawyers there to help you. People, people. You don't need some stranger across the seas to help you with your $1 million inheritance. Who's going to do that?
Right, yeah.
It just makes me so frustrated.
Yeah. 100%.
Send me your ID. No.
Right.
The hell? I don't even send my ID to the bank.
Oh, no.
Shoot. It's just crazy.
I know. And people do it, too. It's like these poor, lonely people that are just looking for someone to, like, really give them attention.
Right.
Show them a little love. And they're like, well, they asked me for $1,000, and I just wanted to keep talking to them because they were nice to me. I think some people do that.
Yeah.
It's really sad that
it is.
That does happen. I do have to say, though, they did come down on these guys pretty good.
Oh, good.
So,
good. How did she not notice there was 3, too? Like, I can tell who I'm talking to based on how they type.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
she never talked on the phone with them? I don't know. Crazy.
Yeah, like, I've totally accused people on dating sites of being fraudsters, like, big time. Like, I can tell right away. Like, I just go right after them. It's hilarious. I'm like, where are you at? Are you somewhere in South Africa? Or are you somewhere in the Mideast? I don't know.
Are you in Tacoma? What the hell, Tacoma?
Well, it's like I had this one person tell me this fraudulent town in Wyoming.
Oh.
Yeah, so I looked it all up because I kind of know a little bit about Wyoming, but I was like, I don't think a town like that exists. Like, I've never heard of that name, and I look it up, and sure enough, there's no such thing as this town that they're saying they're from, and immediately I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit. So they're pretty good at making you believe stuff.
They really are.
Usually their grammar is really bad, too. So kind of be looking for that kind of stuff.
Right. I know, that was one of the biggest red flags to me, too. The space before the comma. That's always the big red flag for me. Even, like, if I'm reading through Facebook comments or whatever, I'm like, oh, you're a bot, you're a bot, you're a bot. Because nobody puts a space in front of a comma. Ever. Right. That is a weird thing that scammers do.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're telling you they're a scammer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, like, if they're telling you wrong towns that they're from, like, ask them where they're from. Yeah. Ask them to be very specific with you. Like, what town? What part of this? Where's that? And then just go
what do you
look
do
it up
there?
on Google.
Boogaloo, Lilu, Wyoming. Wherever it was. I was just watching something on Boogaloos.
I like that. That's good, Starfish. But yeah, they try to be real tricky like that. This is why we do this podcast, is to educate people on what to look for. Especially with something terrible like this. I just think this is one of the most despicable things, besides that one that we did, the lying about having cancer. All the multiple crappy things.
Oh, yeah. Mel Gibson's granddaughter, right, or whatever. Niece. Yeah. I know, this one's like he's on a secret mission. Oh, my gosh, I just can't with these. Like, oh, don't believe it.
I know. Sorry. It sucks. It sucks so bad. So they actually got a pretty hefty, like, this is one of the few stories where they actually had to go to jail. So I'm excited.
Nice. Wow.
Because most of the time, these assholes get away with it.
Wire fraud. Always the wire fraud that gets you. Nails you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird one.
I know. It's pretty heavily regulated. So
right, especially if it's federal, because you're going across state lines, and the feds are hard on that.
Oh, they're big time. And then, Western Union, they've been around for 200 years. They're not going to put up with that.
Yeah.
So, the main one, Wuupini, I like saying his name. It's spelled W-U-U-P-I.
He sounds like a Wuupini.
Yeah. He's getting 79 months in prison.
Wow.
And he must pay $757,000 in restitution.
Oh.
Well,
so, just by himself?
Oh, yeah, just him.
That's awesome.
So, here's the other ones. Because this is my favorite part. Because we never get to do this on the show.
Yeah.
So, Inkoom got 19 months in prison and was ordered to pay $100,000 in restitution. And both must serve at least 85% of their prison sentences and will be under supervision of the U.S. probation for 3 years following their release.
Wow.
And so the other one, Majeed, was convicted of wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, conspiracy, and 5 counts of transactional money laundering. So he was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison and ordered him to pay also $757,000 in restitution.
What? I mean, is all this going back to the lady? So she, like, made money off of this deal? Okay, I changed my mind. That. Do it. Who's it going to then? That's such bullshit.
I know. We don't know. Probably.
Oh, the government's going to take it to pay for all the shit, you know.
Oh, yeah. Lawyers.
And the lawyers,
everything.
right.
And, you know, the bank fraud and the banks and the banks.
Yeah.
Because that's all.
Western Union needs their money back.
Right. Oh, my God.
Well, that is good. I love that. I love that they were actually put in jail and had to pay fines. I mean, if you had to pay more money than you stole, it might dissuade some people from doing this.
Hello, judges that are listening in the judicial system and the lawyers out there. Like, hello.
I think it's the laws and the mandatory sentences and like I'm starting to pick up on certain kinds of either state or federal level crimes are worth more than others, you know. Interesting. So it's like, because you did it federally, immediately it's a higher level crime and you get charged more. If you do it within the state, your own state could have really lax laws, you know, on it. Like Wyoming might be like, we don't give a fuck. You can do it, you know.
Right, yeah.
Because it's Wyoming. Or Texas, you know.
Right.
But, like, the feds are like, no. You don't screw with these systems. And they're federally, you know, insured and stuff. So.
Oh, yeah.
And then certain kinds. I mean, you almost get more time for fraud, bank fraud, than you do for assault. Can you just, like, fathom that in your brain for a minute? That's insane to me.
It's totally crazy. I mean, even, like, robbing a bank. Like, I can't believe people are stupid enough to still do that. You know, it's like, it's a federal crime. Do you know what that means? Right.
Right.
So
yeah, just listen to our podcast and you'll pick up way better ideas than that. No, I have to say, I feel bad, like, for being I'm just so frustrated by people who get scammed. I'm like, just don't give people your money. Just stop. I want to be the advocate and to feel bad, but why do you hand your credit card over? Just don't do it. Or your cash or your checks. I mean, obviously this lady didn't pay on credit, so she was taking a humongous risk. And you almost are like, oh my gosh, I understand you're lonely, but what the fuck, Susan? You know?
Well, and it's like she could buy someone to hang out with her for less than that.
Buy a cat. For God's sake. No, seriously, buy an escort. Like, it would be way more satisfying than this. This is just terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But just don't give your money to these people.
Yeah, don't do the dating scams, people.
Yeah, no.
And anytime that you feel like someone's scamming you, feel free to hit them back. I mean, I've had some great conversations with people in the past with that.
Oh, it's so fun to mess with them.
Oh, yeah. Like,
they get really frustrated.
They do. They get mad at you.
They
it's really funny.
How dare you treat me like this? How dare you scam me?
Right?
Stop it.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a really good one. Beware. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Valentine's Day.
Don't talk to any people who say that they need money from you. Just stop.
Yep.
You're done.
Yep. 100%.
All right.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to Real Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. We look forward to having you on our next one.